I'm so sick of previewing, but let's do one more.
I know you've been doing a lot of talking this season. We'll get into a little bit of that. Get Hokie takes from Colby because he's an unbiased observer. Despite spending a little time in Blacksburg, being an East Coast guy to start out with, he is unbiased. So we'll get his opinion on how we're looking in our over-unders. But we're going to go around the country and pick some over-under plays for you, some win total plays. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. The Sons of Saturday channel has had a great summer. We're going to keep it going. All right, let me add ACC to the stage here. This is where it really gets dark. No, the College Football Experience put out their Virginia Tech preview yesterday. Moneyline Mac and Pick Dundee, who is on our show currently, had a lot to say about the Hokies, and we are going to get into the Hokies. You can see them at 6.5 on the screen. Save those thoughts for right now. I want your outside of Virginia Tech, Colby. I want your best play from the ACC.
I think it's Pitt. I think Pitt is live to make the ACC championship. I'm a big fan. I am a big fan. So well, look, the last time he had a really good offensive coordinator in year 2 was Mark Whipple. They won the ACC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Cade Bell was year 1 last year. He's the son of Kerwin Bell, the old Florida quarterback in the late 80s. And he was at Western Carolina, who is like a top 15 FCS team. His dad coaches them now, still. He brought in Desmond Reed from Western Carolina last year, who was ACC Newcomer of the Year. That Western Carolina team can score. And to me, last season, Pitt was 7-0, and then Eli Holstein gets injured. One of the sneaky things I thought they did this year was they brought in Cole Gonzalez, the starting quarterback from Western Carolina. So if Holstein, I'm not saying Gonzalez is going to start, I don't know. But I like the depth now. So if you have that injuries, and then to me, you also brought in another Western Carolina wideout that I think could make a difference in Poppy Williams. But the defense is pretty loaded this year. And to me, the schedule is what I love. The schedule to me, for the most part, I think there's a path. They host Miami on like November 29th. I think that's probably their hardest conference game. November 29th, the Miami boys going up to Pittsburgh. Good luck. You know what I mean? Like,
well, they got to come to Blacksburg first, too.
I know.
Like, that's back
way. Yeah.
That's
Good
tough,
luck,
dude. That's really tough. And you're the second person I've heard now high on Pitt, right? Because Billy, Ty Hildenbrand from the Solid Verbal is very high on Pitt this year as well.
I'll say this too about Pitt, though. I don't think they're going to compete for the ACC, but the case for them to do so is that 2 games, if they can win, they play Georgia Tech before they play Miami. They're at Georgia Tech. If they can somehow win both of those games, those are the 2 teams they're likely competing for the other spot with in the ACC. So if they can navigate the front end of their schedule and just get to November, their November is my fade on Pitt is that I think they're going to win 1 game in November. It's Stanford, Notre Dame, at Georgia Tech, and Miami. But if they just don't do that, you can lose the Notre Dame game and it doesn't matter at all. It doesn't matter at all getting into the ACC championship. So that's an interesting pick. You probably get great odds if you take Pitt to make the ACC championship. I can't imagine what those are.
Yeah, I actually parlayed Iowa to make the Big Ten championship with Pitt to make the ACC championship, and I threw in, and you can do this on DK.
Wouldn't you just love to be in his app? Like, I would love to see what Colby has on the board for this fall. It's got to just be pages and pages.
Hear me out, though, man, because we all agree Liberty will be in the Conference USA championship game, right?
I would tend to agree, yes.
I think there's no way they're not in the game. They might not win it, but to me, I can't, with everyone else hitting reset, and the FCS teams aren't eligible. So, to me, I just threw Liberty in there last, but $50 will get you 18 grand, just about.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just to be in those games,
I want to make the Big Ten championship, which this was my thing. I was telling you guys was I had USC, Iowa, and Washington with the same record. So I was going crazy because I was like, who would they don't play each other.
Yeah.
So I was like,
common opponents.
Who the hell would they? Well, each conference's bylaws are different. So you're just like, wait, is it scoring difference? Is it the record of the common opponent? Is it just but I think whether you're with me, I know Sam, you're with Washington, and I'm high on Washington as well. those odds are even better, I believe, than Iowa's. I think by a little bit. So look, $50. What are you doing? 18 grand.
Something to look at. It's something to look at for sure.
I'll tell you what. I hope that happens, because when you get to the last week, you're gonna like Portnoy outside of the Big Ten conference building to make sure that Iowa wins the tiebreaker.
I mean that's the thing with these ridiculous conferences, right?
Yeah.
All right, Billy, what do you have from the ACC in terms of a play outside of the Hokies?
I'm so glad this is still available. I have a heart pick and I have a lock, and this is my lock. Duke at 6.5 is disrespectful to Duke. Darian Mensah is one of, if not the best, ACC newcomer. They do not play Louisville or Miami. They have won 8+ 6 times dating back to 2014. This is the best decade in program history. Manny Diaz puts another good year together. He could probably get out of there, which he wants to do probably pretty badly. I mean, look at the schedule. I can't make a case against it. They got Elon, Illinois, at Tulane. Stop doing that. NC State, at Syracuse, at Cal. They haven't played anybody yet, except for Illinois.
If they get the Illinois win, it becomes a lock. Obviously.
Yes.
Like that would be my pick. I'm over. Like, I know they paid a lot of money for the quarterback. It might not go as good as they expect it to go, but Duke has won 7 wins 3 years in a row already.
This is happening.
And so they just go out and buy the highest priced quarterback they've ever had, and now they're going to get less than 7 wins.
This is happening.
I don't think so. Go ahead.
I'm going to co-sign this as well.
Yes.
And
all right. Nice.
They paid up to keep their defensive guys. Chandler Rivers might be the first corner off the board in the NFL draft. Ohio State wanted him. They paid up to keep him there. Wesley Williams on the D line, and Mensah, I do believe. I said something crazy on my show saying I think Mensah will win a Heisman before he's done, but it is at Duke, so it doesn't mean this year. I'm just saying, like, because he's only a sophomore.
Right. He could go to an SEC team next. Who knows?
I think he's a really good quarterback, man. Like, I think they're going to be really good this year.
Yeah, Colby, and I don't know if I know this doesn't mean a lot, but I liked listening to Manny Diaz talk about his program at ACC Media Day. I don't know. I really think this is the most disrespectful line that is available in the ACC. I am so confident.
It's not great. The reason why it's at 6.5 is because it's juiced. It's juiced over. Like it's minus 205, but it is still sitting at 6.5. So you could probably get an alt line at 7 if you wanted it, or maybe 8. But regardless, both me and Bill are on that, and Colby with the cosign. Sam, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean Duke should go 7-5, 8-4. Like that's what they should do.
So you
this year.
co-sign it as well.
Yeah. Orange maroon glasses, take them off, set them on the table. Virginia, all of their hype was based around their schedule and bringing in some transfers. Like 2 of their top 3 transfers are either out for the year or out for multiple months.
Yep.
And their best defensive player is going to be out probably 4 to 5 weeks. And I don't think they're a well-coached team at all, and they didn't make any coaching changes. I don't think that's a 7-5 team. I think they're 6-6 if the transfers hit, and like Chandler Morris is good, because think even with Brennan Armstrong, they were only like 6-6, right? Am I misremembering that?
I think one year they were better than that, but I think his biggest year was 6-6, right? Or no, that was Bryce Perkins when they went.
Yeah, it was Bryce Perkins in 2019.
I'm pretty sure they were very mediocre the year.
They were very
very bad defense.
They're. I mean, I haven't said it all show, so they're too deep. Drink. There you go. Is not good.
Yeah.
And so
Sam, I co-signed this one. I had it on my board, and I'm looking at them. They lost 2 offensive linemen that they portaled already. Chandler Morris, his numbers in the American were a little bit of empty calories. A lot of bad defenses in that conference he was able to load up on. And the Cam Robinson thing is pretty devastating for the first half of the year. So I am also taking UVA under. And they all are saying Tony Elliott has to hit 7. He has to hit 8 because the schedule is just that easy. I don't care. It's UVA. They don't have depth. They're already getting hit with injuries. I am going under. I'm not even taking off my orange and maroon glasses. I'm leaving them on, and I'm still taking under.
My other under that I like. I've been really wishy-washy on this, but I think I've landed Louisville under 8.5. My reason being, I think they're going to be in a shootout almost every game. I like the idea of Miller Moss. Like, he's like that person you dated. You like the idea of him, not the actual person. Like, he did lose his job at USC last year.
But it's not just Miller Moss. It's Miller Moss and Jeff Brom. Like,
yeah,
that
that's
is
true.
I know Colby's got an opinion on this. He's a big Brom guy.
Brom is amazing.
I took the over, but I don't. It's not one of my locks. So
8-4 is in here. I think James Madison week 2 is a little tricky. They have to travel to Pitt. They travel to Miami. They travel to Virginia Tech, and they travel to SMU, as well as hosting Clemson. I just see 8-4 for them. And you get that at plus 128, so you get a bit of value as well. And then I have Clemson at over 9.5. It's 10.5 now, but I'm a big Clemson. I think Clemson will be Natty this year. So
I have Pete. Did you have one? Because I have one more.
I'm on Cal under 5.5.
Yeah, Cal under 5.5.
I don't think that needs a ton of explanation, but they just named a true freshman their starting quarterback. They lost all their running backs. Harsin, noted culture guy, is in at OC. So I actually think Harsin and Wilcox, coaching wise, is a decent combination. It's just the culture and the environment over there is such a mess.
Yeah.
I just think they're going under. So
I was pretty stunned that the Ohio State transfer lost the job to a true freshman. That was pretty surprising.
He must not be very good. Definitely
Must not. You're gonna love this, Sam. Dave Doran. He's had 3 losing seasons in Raleigh. He's coming off a really shitty season last year. And not really, just a not great season. In 2013, he went 3-9, and then he followed it up with 8-5. In 2018, he went 4-8 and followed it up with 8-4. In 2024, he went 6-7, and this year their over/under is set at 6.5. They do not play Louisville. They do not play Clemson. They do not play SMU. They have 2 new coordinators. I'll tell you what, I can also see them winning 5 of their first 6. I mean, hell, they could win 6 of their first 6. It's Campbell, Virginia Tech, Duke, Wake Forest, Virginia, East Carolina. Back half of that schedule is a little brutal. You got Notre Dame, you got Miami. Who knows what Florida State's going to be? Who knows what North Carolina is going to be? My case is Dave Doran answers the door when he needs to, and I think that answers the bell or door, whatever. I think that they're going to go over 6.5.
Okay.
Another school with a new president, chancellor guy.
I don't like. I think Dave Doran is even the numbers you listed off, Bill, were like, I heard a 4, I heard a 3, I heard a 6. Like,
he can't win 10. He's at NC State. He's got it's impossible to win 10 games at NC State.
What do you like here, Cole?
I mean, the NC State one, I actually like the under just because they're bringing in a new OC, a new DC, and I'm not very fond of both of them. But the one that I like most is Miami under 9.5. I can't get there, guys. Like, I think they have the worst in-game coach in college football. And then you
might have to be.
That's even funnier now because I was thinking, are you guys talking Narduzzi? But then the light bulb went off in my head. I will say the schedule. First off, you had the number 1 offense in America last year, and even with that, you had a horseshoe up your ass. The Hail Mary game with your Hokies, the Cal game with the illegal man blocking downfield.
Oh yeah,
and the non-targeting on Mendoza, the Louisville game with the fumble that wasn't really a fumble, right? They were lucky as hell last year, and I do like the DC hire, but I don't care. Yeah. The offense is due for regression, and to me, this year's schedule is much harder than last year's. You have non-con games against Notre Dame, South Florida, and Florida.
Those first 4 weeks, it's tough.
Oh yeah. And then like to me at Florida State, look, I don't know what Florida State is, but I know they're not a 2-win team this year. So I'm going to say that's going to be trickier. Louisville, first off, they have no home edge down there in Miami Gardens. Louisville, last time they played Louisville in Miami Gardens, that was a Louisville crowd. I think Louisville's live on that Friday night there. At SMU is tricky. I don't even like the spots with Syracuse and NC State that deep into November because I think those teams might be a little bit better by then. But at Virginia Tech and at Pitt in a very cold, I mean, you guys know how cold it can get at Lane in November. So, I mean, I just think there's a lot to ask of Mario Cristobal. And another thing is Carson Beck's injury stuff. Who are their wideouts? I mean, you look at it's like that's in a major league. You're like, who are these guys?
And JoJo Trader's been banged up for them. He has, like there's questions about the wideouts to your point.
On Miami, real quick, I really have a hard time seeing less than 3 losses between Notre Dame, Florida, FSU, Louisville, Tech, and Pittsburgh.
Pitt money line.
I mean, look at
they did in Syracuse in the last game of the year last year. Like that was on a silver platter. Yeah. And now they're going
I had that Syracuse game loaded up in May last year. It's like they're going to lose that game. I guarantee.
I think we put it in an article. Yeah, I swear to God, I think I wrote that article and I said like when they go to Syracuse, like that is the time their season could die.
I agree on Miami.
The field goal. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I know. I agree on Miami there. I've been high on them, and as the last few weeks have happened, I've kind of gone lower and lower on them. As for North Carolina State, CJ Bailey did not impress me as much when I watched him play. I also think they're kind of poor. Like they. I think they spent all their money on CJ Bailey and basketball.
Will Wade.
Like dude, I don't think they don't have the facilities. Like I think Tech is in a much better NIL position than NC State.
Well, actually that's interesting because Billy, remember at the ACC media days? I don't know if you were there. Were you there the first day?
I was there every day.
Okay, well, when the commissioner gave his speech, Jim Phillips, the Charlotte Observer, I believe, asked a question that there is something up for the North Carolina State within the state in their election for all the North Carolina schools to be divvied out $13 million for NIL purposes moving forward. It hasn't gone in yet, but that blew my mind. And I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, so you're telling me NC State and North Carolina and any other the public schools would potentially get that.
Let's not rebuild Boone, North Carolina. Let's buy wide receivers for NC State. I mean,
yeah, right.
But it made me think about the whole landscape of college sports. I was like, are all these state institutions going to be starting to do this?
Well, that actually, Bill, I'm glad you said that. And just moving aside the Boone, North Carolina point, because last year Colby on his show, they were running a fundraiser for one of the places that was devastated by the flooding and all. What was that called, Colby? The guys that did that?
Oh man,
Mountain something. I can't remember.
Yeah. Man, I know this too. It was at
if it comes to you, just let it.
It was at a Cullowhee, North Carolina. Actually, it was not in Boone. It was, but they did cover. They did help out with Boone. I can find that for you. I know it, but I don't know it.
All good. Okay. Well, let's talk about Tech here. Now that we kind of went through everything that we could. We saved Tech for last. They are 6.5. It's juiced to the under a bit at -148. And when you were talking about us on your show with Moneyline Mac yesterday, you said that a lot of times last year we looked unprepared as a team way too often. And that our record in 1-score games, you guys brought that up, the 1-12 thing. In fact, when you were at ACC Media Days, you were the first question to Brent Pry, and you brought up the close losses to him, to his face. So we give you a lot of credit for that.
Not sure he liked that, by the way.
It gave a funny answer.
It was deserved. And yeah, he made people laugh with the answer. Before we get to your win total pick for us, what are your thoughts on some of the changes we made? Most notably bringing in Montgomery as OC and Matt Moore. Like, what do you think about what we did in the offseason?
I am one that I thought Montgomery, and I know some people say, well, the game has changed, but I thought he got a raw deal at Tulsa. He had them in the conference championship game, like a year removed from his firing, or was it 2 years removed from his firing?
He was very good in his last 3 years, 14-8 in conference. I mean, he wasn't bad at all.
And Tulsa's enrollment is like, I think that's one of the harder jobs in all of D1 college football. It's like they have like 3,000. I don't remember the exact number, but it's not a lot of people that are going to that university. So I think it's a very hard job. Now the question is, because I know some people, the knock will be that the game has passed it by, because obviously he had some success prior to the Tulsa gig as an OC. I think it's going to work though. I think he's a good football coach. Now, I do have my reservations with Brent Pry because it's not only last year, guys. I have issues every time I've watched him as a head coach. The team does not look very prepared to me. Like, I hope that he has, one thing I will say is he's a first time head coach, and there's something to be said for, like, you have to learn this about yourself, and about, man, what am I doing incorrectly
Year 4
here?
now.
Yeah.
It's year 4.
Well, no, to me, like, if it was up to me, I probably would have already canned him. But at the same time, like, I do think there's something for patience, and I do believe that you can change it and pinpoint maybe things you're doing incorrectly. Back in the days, they used to give coaches a long time. I remember, like, Bill McCartney at Colorado, who won the national championship for them. Like, it took them to, like, year 5 or 6 to really get that thing going. They were like Beamer too. Yeah, exactly. So, like, if he's that self-aware where he can pinpoint those things, but that's the thing that stood out to me the most was I just feel like they're very unprepared and they're always doing slow starts. They probably would have beat Rutgers if they could have got to that level, or Vandy, the
Or
level that they
Purdue,
were, that
or
they
Old
were
Dominion.
playing at in the third quarter, or by that point.
It's like we didn't know how to play football for the first 30, 40 minutes of a lot of these games. And 2 years ago, when Drone started to make his emergence, they were trying to figure out how to get a faster start, like especially on the road, we were having problems. So they woke all the guys up early, and we go up and we beat the crap out of Boston College. Exactly, Billy. And then we come in the next year, and like this has been a recurring thing with Virginia Tech. Is like, oh, we think we fix a problem, and then the next year we see the exact same problem. So I also like the addition of Montgomery. I think Billy was on board, Sam was on board, and the Matt Moore thing on offensive line might even be a bigger deal.
That too. That's the DC. Now I don't know about the DC, but I'm saying, like, the Moore thing I'm buying into as well.
Yeah. So and in terms of Kyron Drones, he was hurt for the end of spring. He had a procedure. We even talked a little bit about it at one point. What do you think about him as a quarterback, like going into this year? Do you have faith that he can kind of right the wrongs of the last 2 years? Have you seen enough that you're kind of out on him? Like, what do you think about Kyron?
I think he could be pretty good in that. And I think Montgomery is solid with quarterbacks. So I think that can work to his benefit. Now, I wasn't buying the hype. Like, my co-host on the Sports Gambling Podcast is a Virginia Tech alum, and he was getting a Heisman future last year. And I was like, man, in my eyes, like, he's never looked great. He's had moments where he looks good, right? And but I do think Montgomery, this is the best OC I think they've had in Pry's tenure, in my opinion.
Probably in your lifetime.
Yeah, Scotty Leffler flashbacks. But no, you're right. And the only fear is just the preparation. Because I do believe that, and to me, like, they get dumb penalties at they're, to me, they just stand out under Pry as kind of a team that lacks coaching. I hate to say this, but it's like that everything, like, I don't believe the teams, okay, maybe they weren't as talented as the Beamer teams back in the day that had draft picks every round, but I still think you look at that team and I'm like, man, if you put a different coach at that team would win 8 and 9 games. To
your point, Colby, I was on the phone with Rich Luttenberger today, and I'll preface it by saying I hope it changes, and I hope that a lot of this had to do with the 2 coordinators that we had. But the story of Virginia Tech for the last 2 seasons has been, the mantra is always, it's not about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmies and the Joes. It actually totally has been about the X's and the O's these last 2 seasons. Like, that's not backhanded. That's just a fact. No double numbers on the field, coming out, not looking prepared, not knowing what quarterback to play, clock management. So I feel like it comes down to this. If the coaching is better, I don't see how this team is not better from a win-loss perspective than last year. But that's a big question mark. So
I've been hammering the coaching on this team since year 1 of Pry. That offense, people were like, the talent is just so far down. Grant Wells isn't very good. The coaching was so bad, so very bad.
You were on it.
And it's been so bad the whole time. It has not been a talent issue. We played horrible in the beginning of 2023. All of a sudden, Kyron comes in, we figure something out, and we beat the crap out of a bunch of teams, and everyone gets on our hype train. And last year, we come in, the coaching is bad again. And hopefully we've done enough with the changes that is different, right, Sam? Like that. That's
I think so. And I'm probably tired of hearing me talk advanced stats stuff, but if you look at Tech on opponent adjusted expected points added per play on offense, which basically just ranks how good your offense is.
Yeah, I hadn't looked at that stat.
In 2022, they were 117th. In 23, they were 82nd. In 24, they were 77th. Like, I don't see a world where under Phil Montgomery and with a Matt Moore coached offensive line that they're 77th in offense.
You cannot be that. Not with four wide receivers that returned last year. Not with Kyron back. Not with Bashal Tootin of all people, who's a drafted running back. Not many running backs get drafted. And he managed to put out 77. Like, I think I would not be surprised if you look at metrics and this team is like top 45 in offense and defense in that. I don't know how many wins that necessarily goes to this year, because I think there's obviously like you talked about, like there's so many other factors with this team, but I think offensively they're going to be significantly better than they had been. So Colby, we want your over underplay before, like, cause I'm over, but like we need your play.
Thank you. First off, it is mountainprojects.org, by the way.
Mountain Projects.
Shout out to Mountain Projects for helping a lot of people. So I took the over, but this is one that is tricky to me because Kramer tells me they won't fire a coach mid-season. I'm like, if you have Philip Montgomery, don't you want to give him a little bit of a try?
Can you define
if the chips are down?
Middle of the season? What is the middle of the season? Because
first or second bye week. First or second bye week. Like, so that's what the reason why I didn't bet this, and I'm probably not going to bet this, is because I hate having that uncertainty. You know what I mean? Like, unless I'm on the under, I don't want an over where your coach could get fired, because in this day and age of college football, like your team starts thinking about the portal. You've seen it before with teams where it's just like, oh God, like Florida State last year, perfect example. And they didn't fire the coach, but I'm just saying, like, that's one where like they clearly quit. They were not a fireable
offense.
Bad.
2-10 was a fireable offense.
But you've seen it before when Mullen got fired at Florida in the Mizzou game. Then it was just like, man, the Oregon State beat them by like 50 in the bowl game, right? Like, so I'm always weary of teams like that. But I took the over. And is there validity to? But is there validity to you? Don't think they'll fire a coach mid-season?
Here's the issue: is that our AD and him are kind of like tied at the hip, because our AD's hired 2 football coaches. If Brent Pry doesn't work out, he doesn't get to hire a third. So who fires who when he knows that his ass is on the line? So like, if we're 0-2 after the first 2 SEC games, which could happen, like, yeah, it's not looking too good, but like, how long does it take before the actual firing happens? Does the AD have to be fired? Does the board of visitors step in? Like, it's very messy. So that's another reason why it doesn't seem like something that would happen during the season.
Well, if you, I'm sorry, if you guarantee me he's there all year, I do like the over.
The only, if I were removing that point, Pete, which is 100% true, if I'm looking at our schedule, the week after Cal is the week I'm like, if that's going to happen and it's going poorly, that's when it's going to be. If Virginia Tech is like 500 or below and then finds a way to lose to Cal, then you have Louisville, Florida State, Miami, and Virginia to end the year. Like, that's the spot. If I'm guessing a spot, like
if we lost to Cal, I think you're probably right.
If we lost to Cal, he'd be fired before he made it into.
It would be a Lane Kiffin tarmac situation.
Well, no, watch. What's going to happen is we're gonna have one loss at that point and then lose to Cal. That's
Come on, let's not do this. Okay, well, we went to Colby likes the over. Me and Sam have talked about our win total, so we're gonna do that on our season preview show. But last time I predicted mine. Sam predicted his. It was over, so we're good there. I just want Colby's quick thoughts on South Carolina before we kind of let him go here.
They were actually. I had another lock that we never got to, and I'm on the under in South Carolina on 7.5 wins. You lose 5 guys drafted on the defensive side of the ball. There's a 6th that is currently on an NFL.
There was
roster.
11 guys at the combine for South Carolina, meaning they didn't come back.
Yeah, and I also. Like, they did get hot. Credit to Shane Beamer. They got hot. They were really dangerous at the end of the year. I also saw Old Dominion should have beat them week 1. You know what I mean? Like Old Dominion outgained them and fumbled inside their own 10 with the lead with 4 minutes left. So I just am not ready to just crown South Carolina yet. So I took the Hokies in the points. Now I still have South Carolina winning that game because, but it wouldn't shock me if Virginia Tech won that game. It would not at all.
Shock me.
South Carolina is one of those teams where if you just listened to the media and you just listened to SEC people talk about it, you'd be like, oh, their over under has to be at 9.5. And even at 7.5, you're like, oh, okay. So Vegas doesn't think that they're as good as everybody else does. I mean, they're the 13th ranked team in the country with a 7.5 over under, which is crazy to think about.
Their end of their schedule is so brutal. And you're right. Like all these SEC, there's 10 SEC teams in the top 25. So that's ludicrous to begin with. I don't want to get Colby started on that, but it's actually
the ESPN FPI. That's such an honest.
Oh, it's such a joke, dude. It's such a joke.
All of those teams went up. I'll tell you this. Virginia Tech was 26th in the FPI a month ago. We are now 31st. You know who's higher than us? SEC teams.
How does that
SEC
happen?
teams, yeah. Because who knows why? Because this is what they do. But regardless, where'd you get the number at for that South Carolina game, Colby?
I got 8.5.
Okay.
So
I think it just dropped.
Yeah.
I think
it did. But I mean, dude, for week 1, I bet a lot of my stuff in June. But like the Toledo one, I know you got 8. Man, I'm sitting on 10.5.
Look at you go.
But that sometimes goes the other way. That sometimes goes the other way, dude. Sometimes you
just
bet
take money
something
line.
and then you find out the starting quarterback's out and you're like, damn, why did I bet that in June? You know what I mean? So you like to think you're smart, but sometimes it's just nonsense, just luck of the draw. But yeah, I'm South Carolina is one. I do think Virginia Tech's live. I just wish that game was in Blacksburg or something, obviously, but we'll see. It's Lenora Sellers is breaking in a new OC. There's the sophomore slump's a real thing. It's a real thing, so like, I do believe, yes, he's incredibly talented. Yes, he's probably going to be a starting NFL quarterback soon, but I also think regression could be happening. You saw it with a lot of, take Jalen Daniels, for example, at Kansas. Kotelnicki leaves for Penn State. The first 7 weeks, he looked uncomfortable. He just looked like, what the hell? It almost looked like he was just thinking too much, right? With this new OC, he's like, wait, we're doing different shit. That could be the case when you see Shula with Lenora Sellers there.
Sellers is not sneaking up on anybody this year. That's the difference too.
Yeah.
I mean, people are
there's more tape. Yeah, there's way more
like
tape on him too. So, because remember they started. I think didn't they start Robbie Ashford week 1, or at least he played in that game.
He played a bunch of games, but he didn't because Sellers had injury problems, and I don't remember exactly what happened in week 1 with Ashford off the top of my head, but. He's at Wake now, who we also play. So that should hopefully be a win. I'm going to that one. Colby, if you do end up at any Virginia Tech games this year in your travels, you make sure to let us know. But you have been way too kind with your time. We've kept you a long time, and we appreciate you sharing all your knowledge with the over-unders and everything. Make sure you guys are checking out the college experience. What can people expect from you throughout the week during the college football season?
Oh, man, we break down every single game, FCS and FBS. And, we'll break down 3 or 4 different, we'll have our main pick show on Wednesday covering the Saturday games, but on Monday and Tuesday, we'll go through every MACtion CUSA game, any weekday game. And that includes the FCS. So I appreciate you guys letting me hop on your show. I've actually, and I meant to say this on the beginning, but I'm just a prick. I've caught your guys' show many times, and I really think you guys do a good product. So, sometimes sometimes the YouTube algorithm recommends me. I've sent you messages. I've been like, I saw you guys fading my boy Diego Pavia, right? But no,
I was nervous about Diego Pavia last year.
He was
you about that.
He was nervous. I think he was the only person on planet Earth who was like, Vanderbilt might not be terrible this year. So
real quick, I got one comment and one question. Number one, it's refreshing to have a pick'em gambling aficionado come on and then downplay his intelligence multiple times. You have dropped some names I haven't thought about in a decade, so please give yourself some more credit. That's number one. And number two, how do you guys know each other? What's the story again?
I pretty much, I think I did Jaeger bombs at his house a few times, but
no, he slept on Robbie's couch for like 6 months in Blacksburg.
Unbelievable.
Were you at New River Community College? Like, what were you doing?
No, so essentially it was this, man. So I had started doing. I've been doing stand up for 20 years, and but I've always loved college football. College football since I was a kid. Since 7 or 8 years old, I've watched as much as I could. Back in the day, like you didn't have the options that you have today. So I would actually have the boombox listening to a game, right?
If you hear Colby talk about football, it sounds like he's 55 years old. Like it's absolutely ridiculous.
You remember the Colorado Michigan Hail Mary? I had to listen to that on the fucking radio because that was a top 5 matchup. People don't realize, but I had to listen to that on the radio because we got regional Maryland Wake Forest. Right, growing up in the DMV, right? So we were stuck with Scott Milanovic against Wake Forest. Both were terrible in the ACC at the time, and I was listening to the radio. It didn't really dawn on me that I sound like I'm in 1940 until one day I was telling someone I was listening to that game on the radio, and I was like,
it was on tape delay.
I sound like my father talking about the Johnny Unitas or something. But
you know who was good? Norm Van Brocklin. Now that guy could hit.
Yeah, but that's really what we had to do for dude. I remember not getting the Red River Shootout for a bad ACC games because we would get the Maryland game or the Virginia game, right? We wouldn't even get the Hokies because they were Big East. So you would get the ACC game a lot of times.
Games,
yeah. But yeah. So essentially what happened was this: I resisted. I basically was going to college, hated it, and basically quit. My pops is like, dude, you're either out of the house or you better get back in school. You're out of the house. So I just hit up my friends, and then over the course of 8 months, it basically led me to Los Angeles, where I was pursue stand up. But my friends helped me out a lot, and it took me a little bit to work up the will to get to Los Angeles. But during that time period, it was when I was crashing. I hit up Robbie like, dude, can I crash on your couch in a bit of a jam? And also I'd like to drink alcohol and meet young women. Right. So,
unbelievable.
So, yeah, that's essentially what happened, man. And then, we went out to LA, and Sports Gambling Podcast is actually founded by all comedians. So,
and that was a comedian network. You were trying to get into sitcoms and stuff maybe at one point.
I wrote a pilot, it failed. It got made though. It got made, which it was kind of crazy. Hollywood's crazy because I had 5 screenplays for movies that actually I spent years on making. And I thought I was going to get a movie made many times. Partied with producers that told me we're cracking the bottle. Your movie's getting made. Never got made, but I had a comedian friend hit me up. Shout out to Matt Gill, who wrote that Kevin Hart wedding movie, right? I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Oh, yeah. What was that? I can't remember the name either.
But Matt Gill hits us up, and he goes, dude, there's a writing contest to get a TV pilot made with Spike TV. But get this, it's going to get made in you have 24 hours to submit. And I didn't have a pilot. So me and a buddy quickly in 24 hours wrote a pilot, and damn if that didn't win and that pilot got made, but it failed, and it should have failed, to be honest with you, because
you wrote it in 24 hours.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It didn't follow character arc and shit the way you're supposed to. And in hindsight, you're just like, Hollywood's crazy because I believe in these screenplays I have that never got made, but then this one gets picked up and this one gets made and fails. And I'm like, how did they think that I read my buddy's screenplay who submitted to that same thing. It was way better than ours. So it's just a crapshoot is what I learned. So anyway, but yes, I did write a pilot, and Sports Gambling Podcast is founded by comedians. So check us out.
That's great. Sean Money Green, you got Kramer over there, who is a Virginia Tech grad. And there's a lot of East Coast ties. You went to ECU. We stole one of your guys in IBM to be our Nickelback this year. So we appreciate that. Yeah. We canceled the series and we're taking your players.
Get on the schedule. Do you guys have your own beer? I'm going to leave you with this. Do you guys have your own beer?
We do have a beer for Sons of Saturday, right, Bill?
No. I'm saying Virginia Tech, though. Tell me about the Sons of Saturday, though.
We're available over at Bull and Bones, Saturday Shandy. just got together with Bull and Bones and whooped it up. Go on and check it out in Blacksburg. You
Yeah,
got to
it's
come down for a game, Colby.
Blacksburg Watering Hole. But
yeah, you got to come down for a game. You gotta get
Hardywood has the Fighting Hokies lager they sell in the stadium.
Okay. Because I recently did like a college baseball road trip through the Carolinas. And I was taken back by like North Carolina going heavy into a beer, App State going heavy into a beer.
It's NIL.
Yeah. Well, that's what,
NIL.
But that's what's puzzling on the schools that don't. Because I was like, why would they not?
Well, I'll tell you why. Is a lot of these schools are so. The problem is there are some schools that are with it with NIL and they're excited to do it, but there are other schools that are like, this is our IP. Like, why are we giving you our IP to sell beer and then we're gonna take a haircut on the royalties? So it really boils down to like which schools are willing to help. But you'd be shocked. I used to work in NIL. You'd be shocked at how many schools will throw up red flags where it's like, hey, we could make a good chunk of change here if we can just use the IP. And the school's like, no.
Wow. Well, because what was crazy was that when I was at App State, the baseball game I went to, like I bought the beer, which they said, and then they even said, would you like to tip on the screen, you know, like the iPad screen there, like, would you like to donate more money to their NIL collective? So, you know, me and my buddies were having some beers. So we're like, yeah, let's give them $20, right? Like, but I was like, why is not every university doing this? Because
the tip thing asked for NIL. I never even thought of that. That's
I swear,
that's next
Genius.
level.
Well, it just made me think. Like, I was like, man, ECU, what the fuck are they doing? They don't have this, right? I was like, part of their games are just debauchery. So I was like, they should do that. You're mad at the starting quarterback. He's throwing 3 picks. I'm going to get a beer. And I'm putting $50 in this NIL to get a better quarterback. Right? Why would you not? Why would you not?
Yeah. Hey, it makes a lot of sense. That's actually pretty genius. After a few airplane bottles in the stands at Lane, we could raise a lot of NIL money.
Right.
All right, Colby, we're gonna say goodbye. It's been 2 hours. You were fantastic. Billy, Sam, I don't even think you guys, we got to cut it off. We'll do more notes. I'm going to talk to Billy tomorrow.
Talk enough Hokies.
Yeah, we're going to talk Hokies in 2 days, Sam. Billy, I'll be on with you with a special guest tomorrow, but this was awesome, fellas. Make sure you subscribe. Sons of Saturday on YouTube, Sons of Saturday on the podcast feed, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Tootie, Spotify and Apple Podcast. And of course, our events, the Tootie merch you can find on southwestvashop.com. All the good stuff. To Colby, Bill, and Sam, thanks for being here. And until next time, go Hokies.